IRS Internal Revenue Service Tax News. Treasury IRS launched new tool to help non-filers register for economic impact payments. So remember, with regards to these economic impact payments, this is a payment going out from the government that's going to go out from the government, from the IRS to individuals. And there are some problems that people may run into. One would be, well, what if I'm a non-tax filer? What if the IRS doesn't have my information? So we'll talk a little bit about here that there are tools that they're trying to help out in those types of situations. The other problem is, well, what if I filed my tax return, or what if they have my information through Social Security or something like that, but they traditionally send me a paper check? They're trying to get people not to have paper checks because they're slower. They're trying to get the money out faster. And now with people having the social distancing, that's restricting the IRS's ability to send out the paper checks, even in a normal kind of process that it would take normally. So they're trying to get people to have the e-file information, the banking information, so that they can process the payments faster, given the fact that it would be faster in general, and also the fact that they don't have the people to be processing the paper checks at this point in time due to the social distancing. IRS.gov feature helps people who normally don't file get payments. Second tool next week provides taxpayers with payment delivery date and provide direct deposit information. So this one is looking towards this product that they've sent out now. This first item is addressing that first concern, and then for next week they're going to be providing hopefully another service that's going to be addressing the second concern. So IR 2020-69, April 10th, 2020, Washington. To help millions of people, the Treasury Department and Internal Revenue Service today launched a new web tool, and there's a link to that web tool here. We'll actually take a look at it at the end of this after we read through this process, so if you want to just look through that web tool, we will go through that shortly. So, new web tool allowing quick registration for economic impact payment for those who don't normally file a tax return. Now, also note that up until they made this tool, Intuit at TurboTax actually put in a tool as well. So they're a private company to kind of fill up this time period where that tool wasn't available. So now we have a presentation on that. So you could look at that one in terms of TurboTax, who's working to help process an information type return. It is a free service from them. And now we have this IRS tool that you can go to on the IRS website. So we'll take a look at that shortly. Back to the text. The non-filer tool developed in partnership between the IRS and Free File Alliance provides a free and easy option designed for people who don't have a return filing obligation, including those with too little income to file. The feature is available only on IRS.gov, IRS.gov, and users should look for non-filers, enter payment info here to take them directly to the tool. Quote, people who don't have a return filing obligation can use this tool to give us basic information so they can receive their economic impact payment as soon as possible, said IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick. The IRS and Free File Alliance have been working around the clock to deliver this new tool to help people. The IRS reminds taxpayers that economic impact payments will be distributed automatically to most people starting next week. Eligible taxpayers who filed tax returns for 2019 or 2018 will receive the payment automatically. So if you haven't yet filed 2019, then if you filed 2018, they should still have the information and they should be able to process it. The only thing that would be a problem there is if there was some change that happened, such as a change in dependents or something like that, that might have an impact on the amount of the economic payment. But in general, even if you didn't file 2019, if you filed 2018, they have the information they need and can issue and process that information. Back to the text. Automatic payments will also go in the near future to those people receiving Social Security retirement, survivors or disability benefits, and railroad retirement benefits. So if you didn't file the tax return and you're getting these types of benefits, such as a Social Security benefit, then they should still have your information. In other words, you may not need to file because your taxable income is less than a certain amount. Therefore, they don't have your tax information, but they do have your Social Security information where the government is sending the Social Security check, and that should be enough in most cases for them to be able to process the correct payment amount and then send it out, because they know where to send it. It's just how much is the amount going to be. They should have that because it's based on just individuals typically. The only time that it wouldn't is if there was some strange circumstance where you had like a dependent in that situation and we're not filing at that point. But typically, you should be okay. If you're getting the Social Security, then they should be able to process those even if you don't file the tax return, is what I'm getting out of this. Back to the text. How do I use the non-filers Enter Payment Info tool? For those who don't normally file a tax return, the process is simple and only takes a few minutes to complete. First, visit IRS.gov, IRS.gov, and look for non-filers. So we'll go to a link to this. You'll have a link to this here, and you'll have a link to this tool from this page at the top of it as well. Back to the text. Enter payment info here, then provide basic information including social security number, name, address, and dependents. The IRS will use this information to confirm eligibility and calculate and send an economic impact payment. Using the tool to get your payment will not result in any taxes being owed. Entering bank or financial account information will allow the IRS to deposit your payment directly in your account. And they really want this to happen again because remember, they can't process the paper checks right now as easily because they're closed due to social distancing. So they want they're trying to get people to do the online banking and the direct deposit. Back to the text. Otherwise, your payment will be mailed to you. Non-filers. Enter payment info is secure and the information entered will be safe. The tool is based on fileable forms, part of the Free File Alliance offering of free products on IRS.gov. Who should use the non-filers tool? This new tool is designed for people who did not file a tax return for 2018 or 2019 and who didn't receive people receiving Social Security retirements, survivors or disability benefits, or railroad retirement benefits. Others who should consider the non-filers tool as an option include lower income. Among those who could use non-filers Enter Payment Info tool are those who haven't filed a 2018 or 2019 return because they are under the normal income limits for filing a tax return. This may include single filers who made under $12,200 or married couples making less than $24,400 in 2019. Veterans, beneficiaries, and supplemental security income SSI recipients. The IRS continues to explore ways to see if economic impact payments can be made automatically to SSI recipients and those who receive Veterans Disability Compensation, pension, or survivor benefit from the Department of Veterans Affairs and who did not file a tax return for the 2018 or 2019 tax years. People in these groups can either use non-filers Enter Payment Info option now or wait as the IRS continues to review automatic payment options to simplify delivery for those groups. Social Security, SSDI, and railroad retirement beneficiaries with qualifying dependents. These groups will automatically receive $1,200 economic impact payment. People in this group who have qualifying children under age 17 may use non-filers Enter Payment Info to claim the $500 payment per child. So here's where that kind of exception comes into place. I mean, if they have your information due to something other than a tax return, they may know it's just you, but if you happen to have a dependent, then that's going to affect the calculation because they're basically basing it on, the individual's, not really the amount of income or anything like that. So that means that, if they have your information, but then you have the dependent, then that could affect the amount. And so you might need to give them that more information in some way, shape, or form. Back to the text. Students and others, if someone else claimed you on their tax return, you will not be eligible for the economic impact payment or using the non-filer tool. Why? Because your dependency will basically be on the other tax return because they claimed you and they'll be getting any benefit with regards to the payment there. So coming next week, automatic payment begin. Eligible taxpayers who filed tax returns for 2019 or 2018 and chose direct deposit of their refund will automatically receive an economic impact payment of up to $1,200 for individuals or $2,400 for married couples and $500 for each qualifying child. Individuals who receive Social Security payments, survivors or disability benefits, SSDI, or who received railroad retirement benefits but did not file a return for 2019 or 2018 will automatically receive a payment in the near future. Coming next week. Get My Payment shows economic impact payment date, helps with direct deposit. To help everyone check on the status of their payments, the IRS is building a second new tool expected to be available for use by April 17th. Get My Payment will provide people with a status of their payment, including the date their payment is scheduled to be deposited into their bank account or mailed to them. An additional feature on Get My Payment will allow eligible people a chance to provide their bank account information so they can receive their payment more quickly rather than waiting for the paper check. So that's the other big key they're trying to address here, and that's to get that banking information in to get the payments going out faster. And also you have this tool, of course, to verify that your payment is going out and be able to track that in some way. This feature will be unavailable if the economic impact payment has already been scheduled for delivery. More information on economic impact payments, the IRS will post additional updates on IRS.gov/coronavirus. There's a link here. We'll have a link to this in the description on those and other issues. Okay, that was longer than I thought, but let's take a look at this tool. I'm back up top. I want to take a look at the new tool. So let's open up this new tool and see what they have here. Non-filers, enter payment info here. More in news. So we're going to scroll down. Now, down here is the actual information form. It should be a very basic information form. So I'm not sure I'll go through the whole thing. Let's just read through their little thing here again. So we got who is eligible for economic impact payment. U.S. citizens or residents, aliens who have a valid Social Security number, could not be claimed as a dependent of another taxpayer and had adjusted gross income under certain limits, who will receive the economic impact payment automatically without taking additional steps. Most eligible U.S. taxpayers will automatically receive their economic impact payment, including individuals who filed a federal income tax for 2018 or 2019, individuals who received Social Security retirement, survivors, or Social Security disability insurance benefits, individuals who receive railroad retirement benefits, who should use non-filers. That's going to be the tool they have here. Enter payment info to provide additional information to receive the economic impact payment. Eligible U.S. citizens or permanent residents who had gross income that did not exceed $12,200 or $24,400 for married couples for 2019, which means you didn't need to file the tax return and therefore may need the information return. And the second bullet, were not otherwise required to file a federal income tax return for 2019 and didn't plan to. So you can provide the necessary information to the IRS easily and quickly for no fee through non-filers. So that's their tool here. Enter payment information. We will use this information to determine your eligibility and payment amount and send you an economic impact payment. After providing this information, you won't need to take any additional action. So here's the tool, non-filers, enter payment information. So if that set of circumstances applies to you, then you'd probably want to go in here. Now, it should just be an information return. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you'll need obviously your information, your contact information for it. You would think that you wouldn't need all of your income information, because the point isn't to file your income, because the assumption is you're below a certain level, and therefore it's just for the information. So let's go over the information you will need down here. Information you will need to provide: full name, current mailing address and email address, date of birth and valid Social Security number, bank account number, type of routing number if you have one. So again, if you don't put the bank account number, presumably they would still mail it to you, but that could take a long time given the fact that they're not sending out checks and they don't have anybody to work on those things. So that could take a while. So they're really pushing people to try to get the banking information to get the automatic payment in that way, electronic format. Identity protection personal identification number, the IP or PIN you received from the IRS earlier this year if you have one, so if that is applicable. Driver's license state issued ID if you have one, if that is applicable. For each qualified child, name, social security number, or adoption taxpayer identification number and their relationship to you or your spouse. So again, if that's applicable, if you have any dependents that will have an effect, they need to know that information because it could affect the amount of the payment. What to expect. Clicking non-filers, enter payment info here. Above will take you from the IRS site to free fileable forms, a certified IRS partner. This site is safe and secure. Follow these steps in order to provide your information. Create an account by providing your email address and phone number and establish a user ID and password. You will be directed to a screen where you will input your filing status, that's single or married filing jointly, and personal information. So single, married filing jointly, your filing status so you got to have that information. Note, make sure you have a valid social security number for you and your spouse if you were married at the end of 2019, unless you are filing jointly with a 2019 member of the military. Make sure you have a valid social security number or adoption taxpayer identification number for each dependent you want to claim for the economic impact payment. Check the box if someone can claim you as a dependent or your spouse as a dependent. Complete your bank information, otherwise we will send you a check. And you will be directed to another screen where you will enter personal information to verify yourself. Simply follow the instructions. You will need your driver's license or state issued ID information. If you don't have one, leave it blank. You will receive an email from the customer service at Free Fileable Forms that either acknowledges you have successfully submitted your information or that tells you there is a problem and how to correct it. Free Fileable Forms will use the information to automatically complete a Form 1040 and transmit it to the IRS to compute and send you a payment.